All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Definitely appreciate you taking the time today for us to talk with you and to answer all your questions about the upcoming Air Force Pitch Day to be occurring in March. So just a quick introduction of myself, and then as well, I've got someone here helping me as well. So my name is Ryan Helbach. I am the Chief Entrepreneur for the Air Force Research Labs. I'm one of several folks that have been working across the Air Force to look at ways to do business differently and to engage with small businesses and startups. And so that's a little bit about myself. And then as well with me, I have Lieutenant Jack Monroe.
Everyone, like Ryan said, I'm Lieutenant Jack Monroe. I'm assisting him on some of the SBIR and special topics and pitch day things. I'll be helping out, answer some questions in chat, things along those lines.
So a little bit about the formatting before I dive into the actual topic today. So just so everybody's aware, we are going to be recording this so that we can post the video for everyone to see afterwards. So just be aware, this is a perfect opportunity to ask your questions about the overall event, but keep your company pitches for your proposals. So save those conversations for your proposals. No need to tell us all about your technology or anything like that. We are excited to see your proposals, but hold off on that for this conversation. We will be setting up another Ask Me Anything. It'll be occurring on January 4th. And it'll probably be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will make sure that that message gets out to everyone as well. So keep your eyes open for that. And then separately, we're going to be setting up individual Ask Me Anythings for the specific topics that we're looking for our pitch day. So just so everybody's aware, you are all currently muted. If you would like to say something or if you have a question, feel free to use the chat window or to use the little raise your hand on the sidebar. So that'll be the two ways, and we will basically, in essence, call on you so that you can ask your question. So let me give a little bit overview of what is called Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR. So that is the framework in which we are using to execute to do this Air Force Pitch Day. So SBIR is it's a program that's designed to stimulate technology development within the United States, and specifically to go after small businesses and startups. And it basically has three different phases. And those three phases are a phase one, which is kind of an initial seed fund to do a feasibility study. For the Air Force pitch topics, we will have a maximum award of up to $158,000. So that's the maximum amount that you'll be able to propose for the topics. And the duration will be a maximum of 5 months for technical and final reporting. And I'll talk about both of those things. So then in addition to that, phase two is really the kind of where the ground really, or where the rubber really hits the road. That is where we get into prototyping. And so that's where we start investing larger dollars into businesses. We would invest for these topics up to at least an initial $750,000, and for a duration of 15 months. And that would be to develop the prototype that you would be proposing for the topic. And then really the goal of the whole program is to get to a phase 3 SBIR. And we call this the commercialization and transition phase. But this is where we as the Air Force can engage with you as a business directly for that further development of the prototype and actually transition and acquisition within the Air Force. As well, it can be viewed as a transition to the commercial non-defense markets as well. So that's kind of an overview of SBIR. I very much encourage folks to go out to the SBIR website, so the Small Business Administration SBIR website, or as well to check out the DoD SBIR website. So a little bit of an overview of the Air Force Pitch Day and what we're doing here. So the Pitch Day is part of what we're calling special topics. So within the last, about the past year, the Air Force has been doing quite a bit to engage with startups and small businesses, and to try and move at the speed of startups and small businesses. We recognize that a lot of the innovation, a lot of the great ideas in this country come from startups and from small businesses, and we want to do everything that we can from an Air Force and government perspective to move at the speed that you all work at. So the Air Force Pitch Day is going to be an event where we actually will receive proposals. We'll make a invitation to a select group of companies to come and make formal presentations to our evaluation committee. And that same day, we will make selections, and then we will award contracts. You'll be able to sign a contract on the spot, and then we'll make our first payment right there and then. So all in one day, we will in essence be evaluating companies, we will be awarding you contracts, and we will be paying you all in that same day. And in addition to that, we'll have a second day where select companies will have the opportunity to pitch to senior Air Force leaders, industry partners, community members, and to private capital organizations. So this is really the Air Force's effort to engage and to move at the speed of startups and small businesses. We recognize that the world is moving at a very rapid pace, and we need to move at that pace as well. So I want to talk a little bit about some important dates to keep in mind. So the first important date is November 29th. And so as you probably guessed, we're past that date. That was when we have what's called a pre-solicitation period. So this is an opportunity for folks to ask questions directly to the government, and we can have kind of that direct interaction. This Ask Me Anything is a perfect example of that. So we're in that pre-solicitation period. The second date I want folks to be aware of is January 8th. So January 8th will actually be the first date that we'll start receiving proposals to come in for the 3 topics that we'll be looking for with the pitch day. The next date is the date that call for proposals closes, and that's February 6th. So we'll have that proposal period again from January 8th to February 6th. And then we'll do a initial down selection to companies within about a week of that, and we will give a subset of selected companies basically an invitation to the pitch day itself. So in between that selection to come to the pitch day and the pitch day itself, we'll be providing or making sure you have access to resources to help you fine tune your pitch. So if folks are familiar with like the TV show Shark Tank, in some ways it'll be somewhat of a similar process during that actual pitch day. The last 2 days that are probably by far the most important are March 6th and 7th. And so March 6th, we will actually be doing that one-day evaluation. We'll be hearing your pitches, doing that evaluation, selection, contracting, and initial funding. And then March 7th will be the bigger, more public day where we'll have senior leadership and community folks involved. So again, March 6th and 7th, it'll be located in New York City. So we're working right now to define a exact location, but it will likely be in Midtown in New York City. So keep your eyes open. We will be providing more information on all of that. So in addition to all of that, give me 1 second here. So let's talk a little bit about the topics themselves and the formatting that we were looking for the proposals. So the topics themselves, we have 3 topics that we're looking for folks to propose to. One is related to battlefield operations, family of systems, but this is basically thinking of how can we optimize humans and individuals and warfighters, and how can we help augment them when they're out doing their missions. So we're looking for kind of any idea in that space, but then as well, we have a couple specific things. And if you go out, we're going to be posting this video and a link to the website with those specific topics, so you'll be able to find more information. So we'll make sure that gets out as well. So that's the first topic. The second topic is around digital technologies. So we have kind of a set area within the digital technologies that we're looking for, and again, encourage you to go out to the specific topic to see exactly kind of the broad areas that we're looking for. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Is that better? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. My internet was cutting out there. And then the last topic area that we're looking for is around command and control and communications and networking. So with this topic, we're kind of looking for again, a broad set of possible ideas in that space. Okay. All right. Again, sorry about that. So we're looking for a broad set of ideas within that space. So those are the three individual technology areas. And as I mentioned, we will be having further Ask Me Anythings about those topics. So in addition to that, what are we looking for with the proposals? Specifically for the proposals, we're looking for a 5-page, in essence, white paper, and then a 15-page slide deck. So we'll be doing our initial evaluations based on that 5-page pitch, or 5-page white paper and the 15-page slide deck. And once we do that, then we'll make that down selection for folks to come and make their formalized pitch. Definitely encourage folks as they put together their proposals that you, at least for the slide deck, that you don't put any proprietary information in that slide deck, as you may be selected to present at the more open forum. And so that would be an opportunity where you would be talking with a very wide audience, and you wouldn't want that proprietary information getting out. For the proposal itself, for the 5-page white paper, I encourage you, if you have any proprietary information, to include it within that 5-page white paper. So what exactly are we looking for, and what are we evaluating for with that proposal? There's really three main areas that we look at when we do the evaluations. The first area is around technical. So how well do you answer the questions that we put out with the call for proposals? So if we take the battlefield airman operation systems, if we take that idea and we basically look at it from a technical standpoint, does it seem that the technology is, one, able to be developed pretty well in a relatively rapid time span, as I mentioned, about 5 months for the initial feasibility and then 15 months for the prototyping. And then in addition to that, would be able to be integrated into our overall systems and those types of things. So again, the first thing we review is technical. Then we look at your team. So who all is part of your team? Do you have, what type of backgrounds do folks have? What types of experiences do they have? Does it appear that they'd be able to, one, develop the technology, and two, transition that technology, and then as well have that overall composition of the team. And then the third criteria that we look at is around what we call commercialization. But this is basically gets to the idea of what is the likelihood that you'll be able to transition this or commercialize this into a phase 3? If we're putting some initial investment into you, do you have the skills? Does your company have the skills to develop that technology and get it out into our warfighters' hands and get it out into the commercial world? So largely, that's kind of a very broad overview of what we're looking for. So tell you what, why don't we, we'll start, I'll start taking your questions, and then as well, I'll add some more information as we go along. First question I see is, how do you get onto your distribution list? So one, we'll capture all the names that were joined in here. So we'll have that. Also encourage you to keep an eye on, okay, sorry about that, I cut out there. So the question was, how do we get on your distribution list? Really encourage you to follow the Air Force SBIR, STTR program on social media, as well as check out the DoD SBIR, STTR website. You can do a quick Google search of DoD SBIR, and then as well, same with Air Force SBIR. So encourage you to follow us via that mechanism. And then as well, we will be getting a specific website going specifically for the Air Force Pitch Day. We should have that up within the next day or two. So encourage you to check those out and follow us there. All right, the next question is, does the title slide count towards the 15 slide limit? And yes, it does. So be very smart about how you get your information across. Part of the reason that we go to that 15-page slide deck is in some ways we want to encourage you as companies to be relatively concise and to the point as to what it is your technology or your solution is, and what's the value that you're bringing to the table. How are you differentiating yourself from other competitors, and you know, how are you going to be able to bring this to the warfighter? So the big goal with those pitch decks is again to be able to concisely convey what it is that you're looking to do as part of the proposal. All right, so the next question is artificial intelligence, predictive maintenance, machine learning, especially for repair parts, supply chains in scope? So for these specific topics, I encourage you to go out and we will be posting here in the chat window the actual locations for the topics themselves. So I encourage you to go out and look at those. I think in that case, it may not be a good fit, but we do have a number of other what we call special topics that I encourage you to check out, and we can get you those links as well. So we'll be sending out for the 3 topics here in the chat window in a second. All right. So there's a question. It's actually with regards to some of our other special topics. So what we're talking about today is with respect to three topics for the Air Force Pitch Day. We have another 3 topics that are related that we've partnered with an organization called MD5 that are looking for folks to have participated in an accelerator program. I encourage you to go out to MD5's website to learn more about what they're asking for in their proposals and to learn more about what they mean by their definition of an accelerator program. The question is, do you consider hacking for defense as one of those programs? And I believe that they do, but again, I would encourage you to go out to MD5's website. All right, the next question is, if we have solutions for multiple topics, maybe we submit multiple white papers and proposals. Yes, you're able to submit multiple white papers and proposals. However, I really encourage you to think that through when you're planning on doing that. And the reason for that is we've seen in the past with some of our special topics that some companies will put in multiple proposals, and the quality of those proposals actually goes down because they're spreading their effort further about. So really encourage you to think about whether or not to put in a single proposal or multiple proposals. But again, you are able to put in multiple proposals. That being, give me 1 second. Okay, all right. Still cutting out. Okay. All right, sorry about that. So for the multiple topics or multiple proposals, the one thing we do discourage you from doing is taking one proposal and using that exact same proposal for different topics. We'll basically encourage the evaluators to select one and throw out the other ones. Okay. How will data rights be handled? Can we assert any data rights to be included in the contract? So data rights, given that we are leveraging the SBIR program, there are specific data rights that go along with the SBIR program. I really encourage you to go out to the Small Business Administration SBIR website, as well as the DoD SBIR website. They have very good definitions of what SBIR data rights mean and what that means to you as a company. So can you assert data rights to be included in the contract? At least for the initial feasibility, so that the initial proposal that you all will be putting in, we discourage folks from putting in data rights we would be negotiating data rights when you get to that second phase when we start doing the prototyping. And part of the reasoning for that is we're looking to move very, very fast with these evaluations and contracting, and by basically waiting to that second phase, that prototyping phase, that enables us to move much quicker. All right, so there's a question about the pitch day itself and how it differs from the overall SBIR program. So the pitch day itself is actually, in some ways, you could look at it as under the umbrella of the Air Force's SBIR program, in that we're leveraging the framework and the structure of the SBIR program in the form of the call for proposals. We're using that SBIR system. The manner in which you submit your proposals will be through the DoD SBIR website. And then how we do the evaluation and funding will all be leveraging that existing SBIR structure. We're doing a number of things to move very rapidly with this process, but overall we are operating under that SBIR framework. So one of the other things specifically along that lines is I really encourage folks to go out to and get registered in the government's SAM website. So if you have not been out to SAM, you can go out to, I think it's just sam.gov. I really encourage companies to get yourselves registered within that website. I'm going to talk about the SAM stuff again. Sorry, I was breaking up there. So really encourage companies to go out to the SAM website. It's at sam.gov. Make sure, one, that your company is registered within that on that website. Two, if you're already registered within SAM, make sure that you're registered and that your registration information, specifically your company's address and company information, matches up what is in your proposal. When we do our evaluations and when contracting looks at your proposals, that is one of the big things that we run into challenges with, is making sure that, one, folks are registered within that SAM website, but two, that their information matches. And then three, the other big challenge that we run into is that within that SAM's website, you need to make sure that you're able to receive contracts, not just grants, but contracts. So again, as a reminder, make sure you're registered in sam.gov. Make sure you're registered, make sure information is up to date and matches what is in your proposal, and make sure that you're able to receive contracts. Again, because we're trying to move so rapidly, companies may not be able to receive a contract if they're not registered within that SAM system. All right, so there's a question about one of the special topics that we have and its relations to the pitch day. So within the special topics, we have a open innovation dual use technology that we basically call for any ideas or technologies that have been proven in a non-defense market and that could be brought into the Air Force. So that is part of our larger special topics effort. We will not be accepting phase one proposals specifically for pitch day. We will be accepting proposals as we do a rolling call for that. So I encourage you to check that out, but it will not be, at least the phase ones will not be part of the pitch day. We're looking at doing some very rapid phase two contracting during the pitch day as well. So we'll be running that contracting in parallel with what all I'm talking about here. All right. There's a question to share the pitch day topics and material with the chat group. And we are working to get that up into the website right now. In fact, Lieutenant Monroe is getting that up right now. How many companies, next question is, how many companies do you expect to be selected for pitch day? Right now, for the pitch day itself, we're looking to probably about, I would say between about 40 to 80 companies to be selected for that pitch day itself. Probably in the range of about 60 companies will be selected to be brought out for that pitch day. and then we will make a down selection from there. So some of the companies that will come out for the pitch day will be selected for contract. Some companies will not be selected. So you'll be making your pitch, but you may not receive a contract then. Okay, the next question is there a direct to phase 2 option for the pitch day topics? And at least right now, there is not a direct to phase 2 related to these specific topics. There are a number of other direct to phase 2 topic calls that the Air Force is putting out. And again, I encourage you to go out to the Air Force's SBIR website, as well as the DoD's SBIR website. All right. So at least right now, I'm seeing that pretty much all the questions have been answered. I'll give you another couple minutes to ask some questions. And while you're doing that, I'll talk a little bit more about the day itself on March 6th and what we're expecting on March 7th. So on March 6th, you as a company, what we would be expecting is that you would come in, you would be providing probably a 5 to 10 minute pitch, and that includes opportunities for the evaluation team to have questions. So during that period, you would basically be brought into a room with Air Force evaluators. So it would be just the company and just the Air Force evaluators. You would make your pitch and they would ask questions, and that would be your chance to convey what it is your technology is and what advantage you would be bringing to the Air Force. After that, if you were selected, you would basically be, we would bring you to another room where we would be doing that contract. We're going to be posting on our website a example contract so that you're able to see what that contract is going to look like ahead of time, and so that you can make sure you understand what's to be expected. I will talk about deliverables for that contract in a second. So once you receive that contract, you and the contracting officer from the Air Force would sign that contract. Once you have done that, we would then make our initial payment to you to start that contract, and that payment would be in the form of what we call a government purchase credit card. But in essence, a credit card we would be using for that first payment. So there's a number of systems out there that you can use to receive credit card payments. Again, encourage you, you'll have time between when you're notified that you would be coming to present to get those systems set up. But I would encourage you to go out and look to make sure you understand what systems are out there to receive that credit card payment. So the contract itself, it's actually going to be a one-page contract, but the deliverables from the contract would be 2 deliverables. The first deliverable would be, in essence, that pitch that you give on pitch day. So that would be the first deliverable. And with that deliverable, we can then make a payment to you. And then the second deliverable would be at the very end of the contract, and that would be a final presentation that you would submit to the Air Force. So again, we are looking to streamline and hopefully reduce some of the burden for small businesses as they engage with the Air Force. All right, a question, will you provide the evaluations list of questions that the white paper need to answer in a source selection? So there are 3 main criteria, as I mentioned before, that you will basically having to be answering with your both your proposal and your pitch. And those 3 criteria, again, are team, technical, team, and commercialization. And we will get, within the chat window, we'll get a link to what those say. So there's specific Air Force and DoD instructions. So there's specific DoD and Air Force instructions. Within the Air Force instructions, it basically lays out those 3 criteria and what we look for with those 3 criteria. So we'll get that into the chat window here in a second. So the next question is, can someone other than the PI or the principal investigator give the pitch at pitch day? So in essence, you could look at this a couple different ways. You could have two folks come in and pitch together. Really encourage you to have your principal investigator actually make that pitch, but definitely recognize that some folks would prefer not to be in front of a large crowd. And so you're welcome to bring somebody else in from your company for that presentation, but do encourage you to have that principal investigator as part of that pitch. The next question is, are the contracts going to be firm fixed price? Yes, they are. We're doing what's called purchase orders, but it's basically the companies you all would propose, and within your proposal, you'll give us a cost volume, and we use that cost volume. So if you propose the maximum limit is $158,000. If you propose the work and that's your cost for it, we would award you a contract for that amount, and it would be that through that purchase order in the form of a firm fixed price contract. And the next question is, will there be just two payments? And that's correct. So there'll be an initial upfront payment, and then there'll be the final payment. Next question is there a preference given to companies that that have never previously received an Air Force contract? And is it okay if a company has previously received a Sbir contract phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3? This is a fair and open competition. So we are looking for companies, small businesses and startups to apply. So as long as you meet the SBA small business definition, which means that you're less than 500 employees, we encourage you to apply. So we're not discriminating as to whether you have received a contract before or you have not. So definitely encourage you to apply. Next question is, how many people can attend the pitch? I actually do not have a definitive answer on that, but I would encourage you to logically think this out. In essence, if you have a 5-minute pitch or with 5 minutes of questions, you probably don't want 10 people in the room. It does not make sense. So I would almost encourage you to have just 1 or 2 individuals actually doing that presentation. But we'll make sure we get a definitive answer up on once we get the website up for everybody. Air Force. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're working on posting up the Air Force instructions, which has further information about the pitch day and what formatting we're looking for. Okay. Next question is, are you expecting roughly 2 even payments, say $75K up front and $75K at the finish? I do not have, can't share at this point definitively, but that's largely what we have done in the past with our special topics. So more than likely that'll be what we will be doing, but that is not definitive yet. And again, we'll make sure that's posted on the website. Next question is, can there be co-PIs? So within, since we're operating under the SBIR framework, there are specific requirements that go along with that PI. And so at least under the SBIR program, it's my understanding, and I can double check this, is that there can only be 1 PI. All right. If there's any other questions, we'll take those at this point. Otherwise, I'll wrap up with a few comments here, and then I'll give you back some time here this afternoon. So again, this is something that this is the first time the Air Force is going to be doing this pitch day. We recognize that small businesses that make and break by cash flow and by quickly receiving answers to proposals that they put in. And so the Air Force is trying to move at the speed of small businesses and startups, move at the speed of the startup world. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So we recognize that the world is moving very rapidly, and the Air Force is trying to move at the speed of small businesses and startups. So again, recognize that this will be the first time that we've done something like this, but we're really building on a number of excellent examples that we've done with past special topics. just about 3 weeks ago, we basically took proposals, and within 2 weeks had the proposals evaluated and had 104 companies on contract based on one topic, or 2 topics. So we are working to move very rapidly, and this pitch day is a perfect opportunity for us as the Air Force and you as businesses to engage with us and to help us move much more quickly. Okay, so the last question I'm seeing here, and then we'll sign off. Are you able to help market your pitch day by creating promotional material for the event? So I'm not sure exactly what you had in mind with the promotional material, but in essence, you'll be notified about 3 weeks before the March 6th pitch itself. And so during that period, you can obviously share with folks that you've been selected for the event. So on this day 6, you'll be making your pitch. On day 7, companies, some select companies will actually be able to make their pitch in front of an audience of about 200 to 300 people. So again, that'll be an opportunity for you to get your message out. All right. Okay, the next question is, will the SBIR Phase 1 Program Manager be out of AFRL? So for these 3 topics, we're partnering with the Air Force's program offices, and so the contracts will be managed out of those 3 program offices. You can find out more about those organizations through the links that Lieutenant Monroe shared. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. Definitely encourage you all to look at the instructions that Lieutenant Monroe shared. Look at the 3 topics that we have out there. Keep your eyes open via the DoD and the SBIR social media and websites for the actual landing page for this event. And then as well, we're very excited to see your proposals. We strongly encourage you to propose. We will be doing another Ask Me Anything, as I mentioned, on January 4th. So again, feel free to answer or join then. We will have even more details to share with you then. So wanted to thank everybody very much for spending a little bit of time with us today to talk about the upcoming Air Force Pitch Days. So thank you very much, and have a very good weekend. Take care.